entered a few minutes before, and so this private prayer service is underway. And we don't know too much about what's going on inside there. We have heard that there's a 24-year-old soloist, an opera singer from Iowa, which is, of course, where it all began for Barack Obama all those months ago in the primary leading up to this day. This is a historic church. They call it the Church of the President. Every president has attended, at least either regularly or occasionally, going back to James Madison. And as the president-elect entered this morning and was greeted by the rector, we heard the church bell ring. And like so much of this church, that too is steeped in history. It's a bell cast by Paul Revere's son, Matt and Meredith.
The service is expected to go about an hour, Savannah, and then what happens?
And then they will motorcade over to the White House and be greeted on the North Portico by President George W. Bush and his wife, Laura. And then they'll proceed and have a coffee, a private coffee. And we're told it is going to be a private affair. It won't be one of those Washington events where we hear a lot about it later. This is really going to be just the principals, just the First Lady, the President, and the future First Lady and President having a few moments together. And I think we've mentioned this morning that President George W. Bush, who is all about presidential traditions, has followed one this morning, writing a letter and leaving it in the desk of the Oval Office for his successor to see.
All right, Savannah, thank you very much.
You know, there aren't many people who know more about Barack Obama's journey to the White House than the President-elect Senior Advisor David Axelrod. The two met back in 1992. Axelrod is widely seen as the architect of the Obama victory. David, good morning to you. Congratulations.
Good morning, Matt. Thank you very much.
A couple of quick questions. Have you talked to President-elect Obama this morning? What's his mood?
I have not talked to him this morning. I saw him last night, and his mood is great. I mean, as it has been throughout this transition process. I think he knows that we face some enormous problems, but I think he's eager to get at it, and you can't help but be moved by what you see on the streets of Washington, D.C., just millions of Americans who feel like they're shareholders in this, and that's something that's really lifted his spirits.
David, you said something back in May, I think to the Washington Post. You said, if I can help get Obama elected, I would have accomplished something great in my life. So in 2 hours, you'll watch him take the oath of office. What will it mean for you? Well, I think it's going to be overwhelming. I really believe he's got the right qualities for this country at this time, and we need to be brought together. We need to be directed and given a sense of optimism and hope, and he's got the capacity to do that, and it's just going to be a thrilling just to be a part of it and to see the tableau of all those folks out there who also feel a part of it. It's going to be an indescribable moment.
David, no doubt you have read his inaugural speech that he will deliver in a few hours. What is the message that he hopes to convey to the American people?
Well, I think that he's going to talk about where we are as a country, and I think he's also going to talk about who we are as a people. Obviously, we're in a difficult position right now, but we've been in difficult positions before, and there are some salient qualities of the American people that have led us through these hard times. And I think he's going to summon us to find those qualities those of character in ourselves again, and return to a sense of responsibility that's been lacking in our public affairs for some time, so that we can move the country forward. So I think it won't be a surprising speech to anyone who's listened to him, not just for the last 2 years, but for many years. There'll be some recurrent themes, but I think it'll be in a context that is special for this moment.
David, I'm just curious, in the final stages of the campaign, when it was pretty clear to you folks that you were going to win this election, did you and Barack Obama ever daydream, ever chat on the long plane rides or bus rides about what this day might be like? Did you have that conversation?
We never had a conversation about this day, but we had a lot of conversations about the improbable journey. You know, there was a time not long ago, Matt, when he and I were running around the state of Illinois trying to persuade people that he could get elected to the United States Senate. And now here we were. I remember landing here when we came on January 4th as he began to assume his transition responsibilities here. And we landed on that, government plane, and he got in the big limo, and we looked at each other, and he just shook his head and said, "This is really something, man. We've come a long way." So, you know, but I don't think anybody really can imagine what this moment's going to, none of us can truly imagine what this moment's going to be like. Let me just say that when he decided to run, though, and Michelle asked him, what can you contribute that no one else could contribute? And he said, well, I know these two things. When I take that oath of office, I think a lot of young people in this country will look at themselves differently. And I think the world may look at us a little differently. And I think those two things will be true.
I can only hope so, David Axelrod. Thank you so much.
Thank you, David.